Welcome back to DXB Today. We are exploring the phenomenal world of women in leadership. And our next guest is the co-founder of Encubay, a global startup network and incubator that supports female founders. Please welcome Avneet Kohli to the show. Avneet, welcome.
Thank you, Nikki.
It's so great. Yeah, it's so great to have you here. Let's talk about Encubay first. Why Encubay, and can you break down in layman's terms exactly what you do?
So Encubay was born out of my own personal journey as an entrepreneur, where I'm a self-taught entrepreneur. I didn't go to an Ivy League university where I had frameworks handed down to me. So when I set out, with starting my first business, it can be a really lonely journey. You know, when you're trying to crack your business model, figure out your first customer, and honestly, very quickly I hit burnout. So when I set out, I actually moved countries back to the UAE, and I realized that there weren't any support systems, any ecosystems that could actually breed entrepreneurship. So Encubay was born with the intent to facilitate access to knowledge, networks, and capital, which I believe are the three catapulting factors that can really accelerate your journey as an entrepreneur.
Amazing, wow.
Avneet, we had the pleasure of speaking backstage a little bit, and you shared a little bit more about your journey as well. And I think a really important piece of it is that you went through that experience of burnout, which is so common, not only for women, but actually for everybody. What were the signs of burnout, and what was that moment where you realized, okay, I need to step back and make a change here?
You know, Shade, I think burnout is an understatement with what I went through. But talking of signs, I was at the time where, when you're trying to set up a business from scratch, I had a job in media back then, and I was trying to build a business on the side. So you had 24 hours in a day, a million dreams to accomplish, and you were trying to juggle everything. So the first was, I would barely sleep because in the morning I'd travel like 14 days a month, hosting events, and in the middle of all of that, try to, do client meetings. So I think not having time for me, also I think sacrificing nutrition and sleep on the first opportunity given. Like today I'm much older and a lot more wiser, I think. My mom would still contest otherwise, but...
I want to know about Encubay, because the name's great, by the way. I really like that. So I want to know some of the stories that has brought you to this journey so far, some of the female founders that have really benefited from your work.
There's a lot of them, right? So Lane, today in 5 years, we initially started out online in the pandemic, actually. So along with what I do, in fact, what led me to even being a part of, starting Encubay was me practicing as an ICF credentialed coach. So when I would practice with a lot of entrepreneurs, they say in coaching that, you never really choose your audience, they find you and who resonates with you. And for me, that happened to be women entrepreneurs. So when I'd work with so many of them, I'd kind of see these patterns of all of them struggling with similar challenges. I think Shade spoke about it earlier, where women wait to be ready. You'd see the same patterns when it comes to capital, when it comes to opportunities. I can go on this and I'll let you dig in deeper. But talking of a few women that, have really, that come to mind as examples at the moment, she's now become a dear friend. She had a full-fledged media job where they do, production on YouTube, etc. for brands. And she attended one of our events where we had, a lot of accomplished women entrepreneurs. And she started her entrepreneurship journey after 16 years of corporate slavery. So I consider that as a win. Last year, one of our most flagship events that we host in UAE is called the Immersion Week, where we have a 3-day or a 5-day marathon of events that unite the entire startup ecosystem together. So we do organize a pitch showcase as a part of that event. And last year, we had one of these founders who flew in from India just to pitch at that platform. And when she pitched, she took away $20,000 in spot funding.
Wow.
And is now working with the same investor on her second round. So it comes back to the three things that I want to solve for, which is, access to knowledge, networks, and capital. I mean, just now we work with Process, which is one of the world's largest consumer tech funds, public listed in Europe, Amsterdam based. And these guys hired us to design a global challenge called the Women Tech Found Her Challenge. And in this challenge, we're rolling it out in phases across geographies. We had 3 winners. I've just come back from New York. I was telling Shade that we were partners with Clinton Global Initiative in New York. And we took these 3 founders who, would have never traveled for business and to pitch on a global forum or in a country like New York, which is the center of capital. So enabling opportunities, exposure.
How did they get on? How did they get on?
I'm happy that we could enable a platform.
Yeah.
After that, what they secure is honestly between the founder and the investor. Yeah. So it was happy to see dreams in a room come true.
Yeah,
Well done, well
that's
done.
amazing.
And we talk a lot about challenges that women founders face, but we never talk about the internal challenges before they start. So do you guys have any advice for women who are self-doubting themselves or waiting for the right time, right moment situation out there?
So I'll let you go first.
Well, there's a few things actually I wanted to touch on which is so relevant to women, and you touched on it, Avneet, as well, that we often see. So it's part of the self-doubt. As women, we often push ourselves and we don't pay attention to the signs when we are pushing too much. And that's why we will sacrifice the sleep and sacrifice the well-being elements, because we see rest as a reward, not a prerequisite to performance. And there's this association that we have where if we take a break, we feel guilty, we should be doing more. And at the same time, we're dealing with self-doubt, constantly magnifying all the ways that we fall short and our weaknesses. I think the greatest piece of advice that we've come across that we share with clients, we share with organizations that we work with around the world, is you act first, refine later. Take that action, of course. You need to shrink it down so you're not taking a massive risk that could have catastrophic consequences if it goes badly, but you need to get started. Get that win on the board, create that momentum, and importantly, prioritize the things that you know are going to contribute to your performance and well-being, like rest, like exercise. Get your non-negotiable foundations in place, take that small action, and it's remarkable what can come when you do that. And of course, as we were saying before, have the right people around you that can support you and lift you up.
You know, in my case, I think what I'd say is women take their roles in their personal life very seriously, right? We are all mothers, sisters, daughters, but we often tend to compromise, or when it comes to our professional ambitions, right? We see that more so with entrepreneurship, right? Women will still get into jobs, but when it comes into swapping into entrepreneurship, it's always, am I ready? Will I be able to do it? So self-doubt, I think we've spoken a lot to that today. The other thing I always tell women is let whatever you do today be enough, right? And take action anyway, which is, I think, what Shade touched upon.